it's all created this impression that, well, this really, it's not just an impression. We can see there's a sort of sale, a win in the sales. The question, of course, is where does it go from here? Where does this current Bitcoin rally go? I'm going to bring in now Chamber of Digital Commerce founder, CEO, Perry-Ann Boring. All right, Perry-Ann, I want to begin with the efforts of the government to derail Bitcoin. These central bank digital currencies, I'm reading now where more and more of them are saying they're failing, that they can't live up to the hype, and there's no interest.
Yeah, governments have really been putting their thumb on the scale of innovation and trying to hold back crypto, digital assets, including Bitcoin. But technological progress can only be held back in the short term. In the long term, technology is moving forward. And that's what we're seeing in the markets. We're seeing, we saw today, El Salvador put out a statement saying their Bitcoin investments are in the black, yielding the country billions of dollars in profit. You mentioned Argentina just elected a pro-Bitcoin president, so we'll expect to see some moves there. We're also hearing rumors that multiple sovereign wealth funds are planning to make very significant investments in Bitcoin. So there is definitely this dichotomy happening between the open source money and closed source money of CBDCs, and we're getting a rally right now.
Yeah, and let's talk about adoption rates, because one of the pushbacks against this was the adoption rates. Aren't they picking up pretty good?
So currently today, over 56% of U.S. households own Bitcoin. So we have arrived.
Wow.
We're on track to have 90% adoption by the year 2029. And it is projected that when we have 90% adoption, the price of Bitcoin will be $1 million because there is that limited supply.
Let me ask you, how do you feel when you see like high-profile folks like a Kathy Wood? She's jumped on the bandwagon. She's got 5 products. She's out there tweeting about it. I was at the Nutcracker last night. Saw one of the Winklevoss twins. I almost asked him, but I didn't bother. but what do you make of it? I mean, is it pro or con? Is there a contrarian element to it for you?
Well, I mean, the Winklevoss twins have been in this space for 10 years. Kathy Wood's been in this space for quite some time as well. But investors, they don't want to be left behind. They're seeing that the train is leaving the station. When you have the U.S. government is projected and estimated that the U.S. government owns 1% of all Bitcoin. Today, it was just shown by, according to a study by Grayscale, that the 5th largest individual holder of Bitcoin is the U.S. government. So when you see the U.S. government, you see other countries, when you see the likes of BlackRock and Fidelity getting in this space, investors are taking note, and they don't want to be left behind.
All right, so I saw where there's a current model. There's all kinds of models out there, but one Bitcoin model suggesting that the value could be as high as 200,000. I guess the question would be, how far out could something like that potentially be?
Right, so Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin today is around $41,000. Its all-time high was $69,000. It hit that roughly two years ago. So Bitcoin is up, but according to the models, it's still undervalued. If you run a trend-aligned analysis on the historical price of Bitcoin today, that model's over 86% accurate.
Right.
It has the price of Bitcoin at 110% of fair market value today, and in stock to flow, priced in dollars, has it at 100,000, and if you price it in gold, it has it in $210,000.
$210,000. Let's leave it there. Here's Liz Clayman.
Perry-Ann should keep talking, Charles, because it just hit 42,000.
I know. We can bring her back.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Okay,
you.
folks, we'll start with equities here. After 5 weeks of wins for the S&P 500, investors should have been ready for at least